incredible stuff in this environment. So my three things, I think, in terms of immediate action would be first in the realm of accountability, because there has to be a consequence for committing rape, especially orchestrating rape as a tool of war. Now, the Bush administration basically never, of course, was very hostile to the International Criminal Court, but supported, in the end of the day, the ICC case in Darfur, and actually stood up for it in the United Nations Security Council, and the Obama administration has continued that policy. We don't see any movement towards ratifying ICC, but they still support the case of the ICC in Darfur. What I would say about accountability is the press is for the administration to work with the chief prosecutor in The Hague to expand the ICC's remit to the Kivus, to work to the Eastern Congo, to work on rape as a tool of war. Start the investigations in earnest, and let those rebel leaders, those militia leaders, and government army officials know that we're starting to collect evidence about their perpetrating these kinds of cases. That will have an immediate damping impact. Second, I want to build on something Niamat was saying about protection and the use. The biggest, in addition to or aside from humanitarian assistance, the biggest investment we're making as America in these conflicts and responding to these conflicts are these peacekeeping missions. They're huge missions. They're the two biggest missions in the world in Congo and Sudan, and they do very little to protect civilian populations. So what I would say is that you and Senator Feingold and some of the senators on this is to start pressing the administration to press the United Nations for a plan and give them a timeline, a deadline that says within X number of days we want to see a plan for how you can take the existing resources that these peacekeeping forces have and better protect civilian populations, particularly women and children, in the areas where they congregate, in the highest risk areas. We already know where the majority of rapes occur in Darfur, and Niamat has already told us about that. Why is it that this UNAMID, this peacekeeping mission, cannot be structured in a way that prioritizes the prevention of those rapes? It's very simple. It's a question of policy imperative and priority. And so if the Congress, who is giving the money for these, the 30% or whatever it is of the money of these missions, is saying, unless you do this, we're pulling the plug, they're not going to stop the war. These peacekeeping missions are there. They're not going to, until there is a resolution of the conflict, they're not going to stop it, but they can protect people in the meantime. That would have a huge impact. The third thing, and the final one I would say, is to demand from this administration and anyone that follows it a diplomatic strategy to counter rape as a tool of war. And you start with strong representations with President Kabila and President Kagame and President Museveni. And you send representatives from Washington, and you say this issue of sexual violence is completely out of control and it's on your watch. And we're now going to integrate this issue into our relationship. And until you demonstrably show that you are making specific adjustments and alterations in how you conduct your business with respect to your military forces, both within Congo and across the border, and we're not going to treat this relationship as business as usual. It is a devastating epidemic, and we can't treat these people as if it's business as usual, pat them on the back for positive economic growth rates that are based on human exploitation. This is incredible that we're doing this. So I think having a diplomatic strategy for rape and integrating these issues, mainstreaming these issues into our regular diplomacy instead of sticking them over here as gender issues that are to be raised by some gender official. It ought to be a central part of our foreign policy, and it ought to come straight from the White House.